Hello everyone! This week we're going to be working on a self-portrait inspired by the artist named Modigliani. Amedeo Modigliani was an Italian painter from the early 1900s, and he was most well known for elongating the features of his subjects, meaning the people that he would paint portraits of. So I've included more information about Modigliani in your assignment page, so please take a look at that, learn a little bit more about the artist that we are taking inspiration from, and let's get to it. And for this, you're going to need a piece of paper, a black crayon or black marker, a pencil, and you're going to need some chalk pastels, oil pastels. You could even use paint, crayons, anything that you have that can add some texture other than colored pencils and watercolor. So let's try and stick to crayons, chalk pastel, or oil pastel. So let's get started. So first thing we have to do is we have to actually sketch out our portrait. But there are some basic rules to making a Modigliani piece. So if you remember from the portraits that we did see, he makes his figures very elongated. So he elongates the face, he elongates the neck, and he even makes the eyes further away from the mouth and the nose than they generally would be. So at the top of your paper, I want you to make a nice long oval. And this is going to be your head and your face. And it should take up about half the height of your paper. Once you have that down, then you can go ahead and add the neck. So the neck is going to be nice and long. And once you feel like it is a good length, then you can go ahead and we're going to make the collar of your shirt. So depending on how that looks, you can change it. I'm just going to give myself an old t-shirt. And that really just involves me making a slightly curved line. And then for the shoulders, you don't want them to be super tiny. So we're going to go out about half the width of our face. So the width is going this way. So I'm going to measure half of that with my fingers, just roughly. Bring your shoulders down with a really, really slight diagonal line. And then you're going to edge them off and draw your lines for your arms. So this is the basic shape for your head and shoulders. And now for the face, we kind of want to measure this out a little bit. So I want you to make a line. We're going to cut our head into thirds. So I'll make one line up here, and then I'll make one line here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you can see it's almost 3 even sections of my head. On the first line that we drew, I'm going to draw my eyes underneath that line. And I'm going to try and make them the exact same size and the same shape. And if you want to measure them out, you can definitely do that. So underneath that first line, and then our nose is also going to be elongated. So I'm going to make one straight-ish diagonal line, and I'm going to make a little curve underneath that. So that's the basic shape of my nose. And then underneath my second line, I'm going to do the shape of my mouth. So I'll start with the line going across. You can make yourself slightly smiling, but if you notice in a lot of his portraits, they're not very expressive. Then to make the upper lip, you're going to go up diagonal. It's like you're making an M. Curve down, curve up, and come back down. So if you see the shape of the M, go ahead and make that. For the bottom lip, I'm just going to make another U shape. So just a basic curve. Now for your hair, do it however your hair is styled. So I'm gonna curve my bangs down. And if you notice, I'm not just doing a straight line across, because that's not how hair looks. So hair is not perfect. You can make little jagged lines if you want. And then for the rest of my head, I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to curve it down because my hair can go behind my shoulders like this. So next, what I want you to do is just outline everything with your black crayon or marker. This is just going to make everything a lot easier for us to see. And then you can erase any of the pencil lines that are getting in your way. and then we will move on to color. Okay, so now that I am all ready, I have drawn all of my lines over with crayon. I have erased all my pencil lines. I am ready for color. So the first color you're going to want to pick out is a skin tone. So I'm going to pick something like this. My skin is a little bit lighter, olivey. So I'm going to pick this color first. Then you're going to need a shadow color. So this is where it's going to get interesting. You want to imagine on your portrait which side the light is coming from, and then we're going to create a couple shadows. So you can do your shadows with either a warm color or a cool color, depending on the tone that you want to give your portrait. So I want to give my portrait a warm sort of feeling. So just like in the one I showed you earlier, I'm going to pick a pink tone actually. So if I wanted a cooler color, I could pick one of these blues. I have a darker blue. I could do purple. I could do green. So now that I've got my two colors for my skin, now I'm going to pick a color for my eyes. And the rest is just you're going to pick your hair color, a shirt color, and a background. Now I'm just going to show you the basic way we can shade our skin. So first of all, I'm going to imagine that my light is coming from the left sort of front area of my person. So I'm going to first just shade everything in with the skin tone that I selected, except for the eyes and the mouth. And I'm going to do the same thing for my neck, but I'm going to actually leave a little triangle blank. We're going to want a shadow cast by our chin onto our neck. So now with your shadow color, you can then go in and shade that shadow first. And then since I've got my light coming from over here, there's also going to be shadows cast on this side of my face. And also if you imagine your nose sticks out from your face, right? So we're going to do a shadow on the right side of our nose if light's coming from over here. So you can just shade it in. Don't have to shade the whole half of your face, just a little bit of it. And I'm actually going to give myself a cheekbone. And I'm going to shade that in. Now I'm going to go for my nose. I'm just going to shade next to it on the right side and a little bit underneath it. And I'm going to fill in my mouth. So there's one more spot I want to really give myself some shadow, and that's going to be next to my hair, or underneath it a little bit. And any spots that you missed or that you want to fill in, do that now with your regular skin tone. So don't worry about blending so much. We want this to look painterly. So we want to see the different strokes of your chalk pastel or your oil pastel. Now I can go ahead and color in my eyes, which you can just color in. If you notice with Modigliani's eyes, a lot of them he keeps just sort of blank. So I'm keeping mine all green. I'm not going to worry about drawing the iris or the pupil or anything like that. I'm kind of blending it just a little bit to really smooth that part out. So once everything is nice and solidly colored in, you're going to want to go back in with your crayon, your black crayon, just to really clean everything up, and you're just going to go over all the lines that you originally drew. So now I've got everything colored in, I've got all of my lines outlined once again, and I am all set with my Modigliani self-portrait. So if you need any help at all, you can always reach out to me via email or Google Classroom. Otherwise, I hope you have fun, you get creative with this project, and I will see you next week. Bye!